After the flood, the world was quiet, not because it was empty, but because it was unified. According to the ancient account, all people still spoke the same language. They lived close to one another. They moved together. They planned together. Humanity had not yet scattered across continents. They settled in one region, a vast plain between two rivers. This land was known as Shinar. Today we call it Mesopotamia, a place with rich soil, wide horizons, and almost no stone. This detail matters. Because the Tower of Babel was not built with rock, it could not be. There were no mountains to quarry, no cliffs to cut, but there was something else: mud, clay, water, and fire. The people of Shinar discovered something revolutionary for their time. They learned how to bake clay into bricks, not sun-dried bricks, but fired bricks, hard, durable, uniform. This was ancient high technology. And to bind those bricks together, they did not use mortar, they used bitumen, a natural asphalt that seeped from the ground, sticky, waterproof, incredibly strong. With bricks and bitumen, they could build structures that stone alone could not. Higher, straighter, bigger. This is where the idea was born: a tower, not a narrow spire, but a massive stepped structure, a mountain made by human hands. The goal was simple: to reach the heavens, not physically, but symbolically. In the ancient world, height meant power, height meant permanence, height meant control. A tower visible for miles was a declaration. We are one. We are strong. We will not be scattered. This was not a religious fantasy. It was a political and cultural statement, and it required organization on a scale never seen before. Tens of thousands of workers, brick makers, fire tenders, water carriers, builders, supervisors. The bricks were molded by hand, then baked in massive kilns. Fires burned day and night. Each brick was nearly identical. This uniformity allowed speed. Walls could rise faster. Layers could stack higher. Ramps were built from packed earth. As the tower grew, the ramps grew with it. Workers dragged bricks upward using sleds, ropes, and raw human strength. No cranes, no steel, no engines, only coordination. Every movement depended on communication, a shouted command, a repeated instruction, a shared understanding. This is why language mattered so much. Without it, the entire system collapsed. The structure itself was not fragile. It was wide at the base, terraced, designed to distribute weight, like the ziggurats we still find in ruins today. The higher it rose, the more impressive it became. From miles away, people could see it, a man-made horizon. But the higher the tower climbed, the more complex the operation became. Food had to be delivered upward. Water had to be carried higher. Fatigue increased. Mistakes multiplied. This was no longer just construction. It was a mega project, one that demanded absolute unity. And that unity was about to break. In the next section, we'll step deeper into the engineering itself. How high the tower could realistically reach, why it didn't collapse under its own weight, and what ancient builders understood about physics long before modern science put it into equations. To understand how high the Tower of Babel could rise, we need to forget modern skyscrapers. This was not a thin structure, it was a massive one. Ancient builders already knew something essential: height without width is weakness. So the tower was designed like a stepped mountain. Each level was wider than the one above it. Each terrace distributed weight downward, not outward. This is why it didn't collapse. The base alone may have covered several hectares, thick walls, dense brickwork, bitumen sealing every joint. The deeper the foundation, the more stable the structure. But there was a limit, not of ambition, but of human endurance. Every brick had to be carried by hand. Every layer required thousands of repeated movements. As the tower grew taller, the effort multiplied. A brick lifted 10 meters is manageable. A brick lifted 50 meters is exhausting. A brick lifted 100 meters is punishment. This forced the builders to adapt. Ramps became longer and wider. Teams worked in shifts. Some molded bricks, others fired them, others transported them upward. Nothing moved randomly. Time was measured by the sun. Work followed its cycle. At dawn, construction began. At midday, it slowed. At dusk, fires were tended. The tower rose layer by layer, not continuously, but patiently. This was not chaos. It was planning. And here is the critical detail. The Tower of Babel did not need to reach the sky to achieve its purpose. It only needed to dominate the land. In a flat plain, a structure of even 60 or 70 meters would appear enormous. It would cast shadows over villages. It would be visible for days of travel. To ancient people, this was the world's center. The tower likely housed shrines at its upper levels, not temples for crowds, but symbolic spaces, places believed to connect earth and heaven. But structurally, there was another danger: heat. Mesopotamia was brutal in summer. Bricks absorbed heat all day. Bitumen softened under extreme temperatures. If expansion was not controlled, cracks formed. Too many cracks, and entire sections could fail. This required constant maintenance. Workers repaired as they built, sealing joints, replacing weakened bricks. Construction and preservation happened at the same time. This alone required a level of discipline few ancient societies could maintain. The tower was not built quickly. It was built relentlessly. And that relentlessness depended on one thing: coordination. The moment coordination failed, everything stopped. Not because the structure collapsed, but because the system behind it did. And that system was about to fracture. In the next section, we'll look at the human side of the project. What happened when communication failed? Why confusion was more dangerous than collapse? And how a single breakdown ended the greatest construction effort of the ancient world. A project of this scale survives on one fragile element: communication. The Tower of Babel was not held together by bricks alone. It was held together by coordination. Every task depended on precise instruction: when to fire the bricks, when to move them, where to place them, how fast to work. A delay in one section affected every section above it. Ancient construction had no tolerance for confusion, and this is where the collapse began. According to the account, language fractured, not gradually, not politely, suddenly. Commands were no longer understood. Instructions had to be repeated. Arguments replaced cooperation. Imagine a ramp crowded with workers, one team pulling, another pushing, another waiting for an order that never comes. Bricks fell, ropes loosened, accidents increased, not because people became weaker, but because coordination disappeared. The tower itself did not fail, the system did. Construction sites are fragile ecosystems. Remove communication and productivity turns into chaos. Workers grouped by what they understood. Small clusters formed. Unity vanished. Supervisors lost control. Schedules collapsed. Trust evaporated. And without trust, no mega project survives. Food deliveries missed their targets. Water did not reach the upper levels. Fires burned without bricks to bake. Everything slowed, then stopped. The Tower of Babel was not destroyed that day. It was abandoned, partially built, unfinished, silent. The bricks remained. The ramps eroded. The bitumen hardened. Over time, wind filled the spaces. Sand buried the lower levels. Generations passed. People moved away. What remained was a scar on the land, a reminder of something attempted and left incomplete. Centuries later, new civilizations rose nearby. They reused the same techniques. Bricks, bitumen, terraces, ziggurats appeared across Mesopotamia, smaller, more controlled, more localized. The lesson had been learned. Human ambition had limits, not of imagination, but of unity. The Tower of Babel was not a failure of engineering, it was a failure of cohesion. In the final section, we'll step back and look at the bigger picture. What this story tells us about ancient societies, why Babel still matters today, and what happens when human systems grow faster than the bonds that hold them together. The story of the Tower of Babel is often misunderstood. It is not a myth about technology. It is not a warning against building. And it is not about height. It is about direction. The people of Babel were not punished for intelligence. They were not stopped because they were incapable. They were interrupted because their unity had turned inward. The tower was not built to honor God. It was built to secure permanence. Let us make a name for ourselves. Let us not be scattered. These phrases reveal the true motivation. Fear of losing control, fear of dispersion, fear of dependence. The tower was an attempt to freeze humanity in one place, under one system, with one identity. In ancient societies, centralization meant power, control over food, control over labor, control over belief. Babel represented the first global system, one economy, one workforce, one language, one goal. And history shows us something consistent. Whenever human systems grow faster than moral restraint, collapse follows, not immediately, but inevitably. After Babel, humanity spread. Languages diversified, cultures adapted, civilizations localized. Progress did not stop, it multiplied. Different building styles emerged, different social structures, different ways of surviving harsh landscapes. Humanity became resilient because it became diverse. This pattern repeats throughout history. Empires rise through central control. They fall when cohesion cracks, not from the outside, from within. Babel teaches us that complexity demands humility, that systems require shared values, not just shared language, that cooperation without purpose becomes coercion, and that unity without direction becomes dangerous. The ruins of Babel are long buried, but the question it raises remains alive. How high can a society build before it forgets why it builds at all? This is why Babel still matters, not as a story of the past, but as a mirror. In the next episode, we step into another ancient world, a place shaped by survival, law, and belief, where daily life was governed not by towers, but by covenant, and where history left traces that still shape the world today.